Hey, Alex and Kent, we are going to go over our weekly recap. We spent all week passing the guard. And today we're going to talk about one of the techniques that's going to illustrate several points that we went over. So if you were here all week and you're using this as a notebook, this is a really good technique to cover a lot of bases. If you weren't, check out some of the passing that we did this week at Alpha. So let's start talking about my guard position. Handful of positions I can be in, handful of breaks I can work here, but one of the most important things I can do is when Kent opens his guard to attack me, or when I actually effect a break of Kent's guard. Either way, I need to make sure I'm bringing these arms back in, that I'm not leaving them extended. As I'm doing that, I'm bringing my combat base up, right? So I get my knee through. The primary reason for the existence of the combat base at all is just so Kent can't recompose guard on me. He can't close that guard back up. Because if you've ever had a big, strong, skilled guy with a guard locked on, go ahead and just lock it on, man. Like, this is a nightmare break, right? Because I have to work, and I have to posture, and I have to position. And this is difficult. So once I go through all that trouble once, you better believe I don't want to go through it again. So I get my combat base. And this makes sure that no matter what else happens, he's not going to close that guard again. This is half my pass right here, just getting the ability to start getting through or around or over these legs. So this week we talked a lot about using pressure to pass. So for today's review, we're going to go ahead and we're going to move to a standing position. So once I'm in my combat base, I'm going to gain control of the inside of his knees, using the pant if I can, and I'm going to come to a standing base. So I'm going to drive up, get over my hips, that lightens my foot so I can get to my foot quickly, and now my arms get tight inside my knees, and I even circle these out if I can, because I want no space between my elbow and between my knee. If I have a wide open standing position, it's easy for Kent to start wrap these things in, go and throw that Spider-Man or a hook in or a lasso in. Now I'm in bad shape, he's controlling me all over the place. So I moved to a position of advantage, but I'm letting him keep the advantage rather than taking it for myself. So it doesn't make sense. So what I want is nice and tight. I can circle the elbows, I can step out, step back in, whatever the case is, but I want my elbows tight. I want down inside my knees, and I want my elbows back towards me. I don't want a lot of gap that he can work with. So I'm in nice and tight. So from here we're going to shift our stance, and I'm going to get this pressure with my shin in the back of his hamstring, and I start to isolate this leg. And you'll notice, as I start to work in a circle, this isn't a ballistic move where I'm throwing his leg around, because if I give him space at brown belt level or athletic even, guy, if I just throw this leg, he can come right at the guard, right? And look at all the energy it's taken me to try and throw that. What I want is good tight posture, pressure driving in. And now, rather than throw this, I'm just going to stay low. I'm going to drive the knee across center line as I walk around. Walk around. And I'm pressuring it across center line. From here, I'm essentially past guard. I've got good control. He's going to have trouble recomposing. My arms are still tight, I'm out of trouble, and I can start to drive past. I can take my north shin control, and I can come into a good tight side pressure. And from here, I can go ahead and maintain control of this far leg all the way through, because this is a feeler. This tells me what he's doing with this far leg, and by extension, what he's doing with his hips. Go ahead and start to move, and I can feel his extension, I can feel his turn back in, and if I need to, I can affect change in that. And I can move his legs where I need them to be. So I keep this as a control and a feel until I am settled in and I know I'm exactly where I want to be. And now I can transition out. So it's a really good controlling mechanism. So as we're coming through, let's look a little bit at the posture here and some of the mistakes that we see people make. As people come up, we already talked about, see a lot of space. Space is his friend down there. I want to take that away, right? Nothing changes on that. I see people too concerned with trying to stay high, because we're always worried about the triangle, right? Triangle me here. You can't, right? If I'm in here and applying pressure, the triangle's not a problem. And I need to think about keeping this on lock and really pinning this towards the ground, because that's going to make my pressure much greater as I go around the guard. So, thinking about how we break, how we work the mechanics of the break. Thinking about immediately moving to combat base and the function of that, why we do it. Not enough to just mimic doing it, we must understand why we're doing it. And then the ability to take the advantage of leverage and not just give it away and not just do it because everyone does it, but understand I'm moving to that position so I can exert pressure. And then I can start to affect this. There's really, go ahead and fall back, not much more to the guard position other than a closed guard. Pretty self-explanatory, a butterfly guard. And then once we start moving in here, and everyone's got like 18 names for where feet go, and there's this guard and that guard, and like all this turns into is one big open guard. And solving the equation of the open guard is all about where do I put the pressure, where do I apply the pressure. This is a good first step in learning how to walk around pressure and learning how to control the center line. But this can apply from anywhere in the open guard. Once I start to apply pressure to the open guard, I start to solve the problem of the open guard. So, Alex and Kent, that's our week in a nutshell. We'll see you back next week. Take a look at the rest of our channel. Like, subscribe, shoot us some comments, and next week we're going to move into actually attacking from the open guard. So we'll see you then.